Nothing, nothing is radically intimate. It is absolutely close, closer than close. Nothing can ever be outside of nothing. Nothing already includes everything. Without judgment, without preference, without hesitation or distinctions. How can those I love ever be apart from me? We were never really separate. We were always already included. And welcome to a surprise live stream, and one that, again, I have no plans for, how I always do things on this channel, because of my crazy schedule and whatever else. I gotta do a Leo new moon post or video. I'm like, oh, let's do a live stream. Let's do it when you're not supposed to do it. Let's do it when the eclipse is happening, and just see what happens and see what the hell I gotta say. And the interesting thing is here, I'm very bright right now. Like I'm got this lighting, and it's gonna be constantly changing, which maybe be apropos of the stream, on what this what this particular lunation is and what it starts. I actually feel like this lunation started when Jupiter went into Leo, but even 2 weeks ago, and I'll bring up that chart. And if I don't, remind me. Okay, so I just want to say hi to everybody jumping in on a random stream. And I'll say to everybody in chat. I'm already seeing Esmeralda and Big Les is in here, and Megan, there's channel members in here. I appreciate you. Hey, what are you doing during the day? Get a life, will you? What are you doing? You're supposed to be at some corporate job, clocking in and serving the machine. But no, you're not doing that actually. You're actually here with me because you're walking your own path on your own time, in your own way, even if you're broke. And so who gives a shit about the machine? Who are you in the world? What do you want? How do you want to express yourself? How do you want to show up in the world? Right? How can you do this? And maybe in that process, you'll realize that some of the ways you've done this or become habitual and dependable and worked in the past don't work. Let's just say if we were to focus in on the Leo part of your chart and the Aquarius part of your chart, like this process, right? Like, how do you stand yourself in the world, but then how does it fit in the world in a space with other people, and the interchange that happens and the journey that happens there, right? So that is something here that for you to think about. Again, I will just, I don't know, I've been thinking about this stuff all week. I didn't write anything down. I decided to do a stream in the middle of the night last night. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do this. And I got to eat my oatmeal first and see what the hell happens. But anyway, let's do it. I'm going to go to here as a chart, but what I'm going to do is bring up my chat and say hi to everybody. Esmeralda's in here. Good to see you. Channel member, Big Les fan. Good to see you. I have something to say actually in a second here. Barris is here. Megan's here. Channel member. See that little, if you're looking at this chat, they have golden wings in the head, is because they support me. They pay to be a member on this channel, so on and so forth. Jen C is here, Purple Alegria, Amandita, wow. Wesley's here, another channel member. Hey from LA, not serving capitalism today. Hell yeah, I love how you did that rhyme. I just got back from there. And it was hot, in a lot of ways, but it was hot. Like in the valley, it was effing hot, 104, like multiple days. You do that drive through Topanga, get down there to the beaches, and that's where the magic happens. If you have the time, if you can do that during the day, during the middle of the week, and you're fortunate like me and broke at the same time. So, who else is in here? Big Daddy of the Solar System. Good to see you. Another channel member here taking a break, watching Barry for this. I don't know what you mean, Barry. Is it the TV show? That's Esmeralda, I see what you're saying. That's a wonderful thing about working from home, doing my tarot readings. Right on. Chad, good to see you. Channel member, the eclipse is square my sun in 10th house Scorpio with 1 degree orb. Yes, and here we are. I know you can go online and they're showing this stuff. I actually have some friends in Spain right now that are doing this, and some of them have never seen a total solar eclipse. So I was very excited for them. I'm not going to pull this stuff like the be careful the rays or the blocking of the sun. I mean, you can, but there's nothing like viewing a total solar eclipse. I gotta say, I mean, it's profound what happens, and even what happens in nature around and the birds and what they start doing, the shadows. Yes, Big Daddy, that's what I thought you meant with Bill Hader. Yeah, that's what I thought. Hey, Samander89, you're in the house too. So do me a favor, press the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I think you guys have. Do it, share it if you can. As I didn't give a lot of, well, I never give you guys a heads up when I do this kind of stuff. So let me start by talking about our sponsor. I have a sponsor today for the live stream, and we'll check it out here. It's whole psyllium husks. It doesn't matter which brand, but it's the whole psyllium husks, you see, and this is my sponsor for today's live stream. Now, if you know what this is, and you know what this does, I want you to include what this does in your narrative about the Leo part of your chart and how this, the effect of psyllium husks, and by the way, it's a soluble fiber, the effect of this and what it does, and for the temporary and for the long term, is how you should look at the Leo part of your chart and where the South Node is right now in Leo. Okay, so before I even get to anything here, I want you to understand this. See, whole psyllium husks, okay? Listen, you got another brand, you got another way of doing tons of amounts of fiber. Go this way, go easy, okay? Like, not 2 huge spoonfuls, you know, if you're not used to this stuff. We want to go easy with this. We want a little bit by little bit, right? So, because your body and your digestive system, in real life and metaphorically, the Leo parts of your chart, the Aquarius part of your chart, they gotta, like, you can't just shock the system, right? You gotta slowly add this, and maybe you put it in a smoothie or you put it in some other vessel or container so you can purge, so you can kind of have a smooth move, eventually a smooth move, you know, there in the Leo part of your chart to pull it out, to suck out stuff that's stuck or not moving, or it's run its course and it hasn't purged itself yet. And then we don't want things fermenting because they already are been fermenting in the Leo part of your chart. So whole psyllium husks is the sponsor of this live stream. So saying that, I wanted to set the tone for you and let's do it. What I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to go back to this screen here. You're not going to see what the hell I'm doing because it's very important that I not show things, because we have to keep the mystery, don't we? I have to rope you into a story, and I have to capture you and trick you into things. I have to, like, completely manipulate you, manipulate your mind, manipulate something, all for good, for the good, by the way, for the good. That's the Mercury and Gemini, trine Uranus, exactly, partile, disclaimer of this channel. Okay, so saying that, we are going to go here. It's this main chart. Hey, that's right now. Let's look at the chart right now. I still got a Libra rising. There's nothing I could do about this. I'm like, oh, whatever. You know, it's actually pretty good. Venus in Libra right now. I mean, think about this, by the way. Like, doing all this stuff. And in the background, we have a planet in its home and really kind of trying to do the negotiation. They're trying to do the negotiation over there in the Middle East. People are trying to do the negotiations in their relationships right now. They're trying to do it on online forums and comment sections. Good luck with that. And it's in the middle of an eclipse. So not that I wanted to start off talking about Venus and Libra, but there is something interesting here. And even without looking at the exact eclipse chart or the new moon chart, let's also point out something else. Like, Mars just went into Cancer. Geez, I thought I would never say this. I thought I would never say like Mars needs to get out of Gemini, because anything in Gemini, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, right? But haven't you noticed in the last week and a half that it was just a little too much? It was just finally kicked in, I think. Not the predictions of Mars, Uranus, mundane predictions. LA still standing. There's no catastrophe over there. But I'm talking about the way things were being communicated. And most of the time when Mars was in Gemini, Mercury was in Cancer, and then we had to do a retrograde, like finish that, right? So I think it got really dicey at the end of the Mars in Gemini transit. And even when the moon went through there, right, not too long ago, so many days ago, it just pushed it. So I was like, I thought I'd never say like bring on Mars in Cancer, right? So that's what's going on there. Okay, so that's a quick thing here. Venus and Mars are in cardinal signs. All right, we got that. Okay, so I'll get to the chat in a second because I see some of you that are in there. But let us pull up the actual chart. The eclipse chart itself. So basically here it is. The exactness is 10:36. Yeah. Did I start a stream during the eclipse? I did. So saying that, 20 degrees is where the new moon is. Important here. Now I want you to remember this degree, but most importantly, what I really want you to remember is that Mercury and Jupiter will eventually hit this degree during their transit and their run. Jupiter's going to do it with a retrograde function like 3 times. I can look that up. Mercury's going to do it real soon. So for any of you that have something in fixed signs or in Leo and Aquarius, especially around this degree, the story's already started. I think with the psyllium husk story has already started. So saying that, we pay attention to this because the story's ongoing. It will play itself out at least for the next year and a half. And I really think the meatiest part of all this is now and all the way till next year when Jupiter then finally leaves Leo and goes into Virgo. Okay, so we're at the beginning of this. We also obviously want to pay attention to where the node is. If Jupiter is Mercury. Just these are things to note. Secretly in the background, down the line as a helper in the end of this month, we pay attention to Saturn, even though it's retrograde here, to do this, right? So basically we look at aspects, right? We can see that Mercury is doing a trine to Neptune here, right? There's some sort of conduit of having to trust the unknown here, some sort of knowledge that could be, in a sense, Neptune is secretly imparting onto Mercury to carry through its journey through the transit of Leo. But that's there. We have a building trine with Mercury and Saturn, another fire trine happening there. I think that's there in the background. I think the most important thing is there's a canceling out of the light. And the sun rules Leo. And just imagine, as we're doing right now, that light, that ball of warmth and energy and vitality, and if we didn't have it, we don't exist, this thing that grows and stores and radiates and creates things and is part of creation is black. It's like blocked out for a while. So, get this in your head. It's not, I feel, the easiest thing that could happen, especially if one has been feeling sideswiped in the Leo part of the chart. But I'll get to some what happens down the line from my opinion and to the chat. But just remember that moments like this with eclipses, they are trigger moments, and they're doors opening and closing at the same time, and an overlapping story, I think, happens. I want to go back to a lunation that happened here. If I go back to here, I'm going to pick this particular chart that happened here. Remember, it was a couple weeks ago, it was the full moon in Aquarius, and this is part of the deal. And we had it because we had a moon in Aquarius conjunct Pluto, and then we had a Jupiter-Sun conjunction that happened, and nodes were there. Mars was, Mars was on my Sun around that time. Anyway, so Mercury was in Cancer coming out of the retrograde phase, and it's the setup. It was a setup for what's happening today and really the next 6 months when we get into the next eclipses in February, okay? So I think this lunation was a setup for what is happening right now. And so we're not just focusing on the Leo parts of a chart. We focus on the fixed parts of a chart, but especially Aquarius and Leo, Sun and Saturn. Saturn being the ruler of Aquarius. I will take a break here to acknowledge people. I just need to see who's in here. Who else while I started talking? Who else has jumped in here? Hey, Linda, good to see you. Third house I see conjunct Rahu. Oh, wow. Yeah, cool. That's... sent clutch 30 joules. Oh, that's a new thing. Hey, thanks for doing that. Tanya, good to see you. Hey, Isha, hello. Isha says, let's go. Energy's hot for this eclipse. I woke up with lyrics on my head for a new song. Hey, that's the way to do it. If you're going to transmute it and turn it into something, remember, do that. But before you do it, let me remind you of today's sponsor. It's whole psyllium husks. When things are stuck, when it's somehow you can't just pass through a situation, you need a little bit of help. Maybe things are a little bit unbalanced, right? We, and the sponsor of this video, Psyllium Husk, can help you maintain and create balance for the long term. Start slow, go easy with whole psyllium husks. All right, so saying that, that's a little setup. I know many of you watching know this stuff. So, okay, let's go back. Let's go back to the chart here and go right back here. You guys can make your own delineations. I feel like 2 weeks ago was a setup, and now Mercury's here. This is my little take, and I'm a big inner body planet fan when it comes to these bigger transits. Mercury here has to pass through and eventually move through Jupiter, right? And eventually hits the sun, but it won't hit the sun until the Virgo birthdays will start. And I think that's something I'll look at here in a second. But if you're going to use this and psyllium husks metaphorically and start this story, we want to understand the basic core tenets of Leo stuff. Like if I use keywords, I have some here that I wrote: self-esteem and dignity and heart, show person, performer, ruler, childlike, loyal. We got a fixed sign here. Pride, that's the biggest one. Pride and courage, I think, are one of the biggest things here with Leo. So saying that, if I think one can have pride in who they are, and you should. Like I think you get pride in something like that, pride in who you are and what you do and what you create. It's part of the story, right? But what happens when everything is just based on pride, or become prideful, too prideful? Any fixed sign, in my opinion, I think they're the strongest in the sense of, like, if we think from a cardinal sign that starts the season, and then what started the fixed sign, the next birthday or the sign takes it and has to focus and be determined to carry something through. And that's the base core, like, vibe and energy and narrative of fixed signs, right? Is to do that. Then we get to the next sign after that, and it's always mutable because it's changing to get ready for the next season again, the next 3 months. We do this over and over and over again. But what if in that middle place, in the Leo place, that the way Leo does something becomes too rigid? Even the rigidity with how one expresses themselves, or how pride will, in a sense, bring metaphorical blindness to how one views themselves and how they interact with the world, and become detrimental in certain situations and narratives. And let's just say we create the story and narrative that when interacting with other people. in a one-on-one situation or group mindset or community-based mindset or anything else. And there's interchange that happens there, but there isn't any growth that happens because of like the rigidness, the stubbornness, the tunnel vision of a fixed sign. Let's say in pride has gone too far, right? And the unwillingness to change, and we get stuck. And I think some of the most stubborn places are in the fixed signs when it comes to this. At the same time, I think they're the most powerful with holding the line and following through and pushing a story line, because they have to be focused. So I think you're getting what I'm saying here. So if there is a purging that's happening with the South Node and a story here that's happening over time, that something needs to leave and something needs to go in the Leo part of your chart. And I think it's beginning now. I think for some people, they know what that is. I think it's been building. But for some, they're just getting introduced here. And so one has to be honest and look, and can one step away from the pride, not in a way that's harmful? Now, I think the other part of this has to do with just the feeling of life. So if you and I and a bunch of us here in chat, we were younger and we were on a playground and we didn't know each other. So, you know, you do a play date, you have a friend, but then all these other parents come and the kids are on a playground, and the kids, I look at you and I'm a little shy, and another person's like, hey, be friends with me. And next thing you know, somehow you get past all that shit and you're running around like crazy on a playground, and you're going down the slides with the rest of the kids, with us. And the parents are like, oh my God, these kids are crazy. Look at them. And they're taking photos of you because you're doing crazy shit with these new people that you met. But you're like 100% fully committed to play, fun, and expression, and going down the slide with your friends. Like, you're 100, there's nothing else but that. There's nothing else but that. Pure life force. And this life force pushes and changes life in general. You think about this, if you feel this. So there's one thing about thinking about it. Mercury and Leo is there, so we're thinking about it right now. But what if it was in your everything, and you were sweating and it was pumping through your blood, and there's nothing like that feeling. It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's fun. It's pure expression, you know. That's what we want. That's what Leo teaches us. But what if somehow there was something stagnant in all that? And then it deterred from other things that we had to do. It eventually created challenge within oneself or with other people, or then the suppression of that expression, or taking that one's light took over other people's light. And for me, it's like, can one find the balance? Everyone can have the spotlight on them at the same time. Some people don't believe that. Some people believe that if they were on stage and there was other people, that they get to a place like, yes, sometimes we put the spotlight on you and you get your moment. But what if that moment is done and it has to go to the next person? And you don't want to let go of that moment because your pride's involved, or whatever story that you're carrying to that place, and you don't, and there's a holding on. That is what I'm talking about. And that part of the story, I think, has to go through some sort of purging or letting go and regeneration. And in one sense, if the light of the sun is getting blocked out here, if one can realize that it's needed in order for things to move along and to grow, which I think every fire sign inherently wants in the end. I think they start that way. They must push out. The ego must show and develop itself, right? Or do this thing. And that's part of the game, whether it's Aries or Sag or Leo. But there's parts where it's off. And so here, I think, is one looks to the Leo parts of the chart, and they have to understand what gives me the sense of connectedness to myself and the world, and how I express myself and how I do my play, what works and what doesn't. And at some point, you cannot avoid the other opposite part of the chart, which is the Aquarius part of the chart, and how, let's say, you interact with other people. And somehow, can there be a balance between people individually expressing themselves and then doing it in a group setting too, and everybody's seen and acknowledged? The other part of it is, and this is what goes back, I think, to the feeling of things. If it's just about me all the time, and it's deterrent, you can become blind to the changes, and the attention and the acknowledgement that sometimes we seek, we don't get it, because I think it has to do with a certain type of stubbornness And if it's attached to drama and some sort of attention, like a darker type of attention seeking, then I think one gets caught up in that part of the narrative alone, and it becomes habitual. So, there's times we get the spotlight on us, and we deservedly so. But how does it happen, and in what form, and what creative vessel do you do it in? And then, is it a type of way that sucks the energy out of the room for everybody else, and even for you? And in the end, you just want to show this, but are you willing to like also be silent and be quiet and let somebody else step into the spotlight? Can you do that? And if you can't, then there's something you have to say there, because I think it's unavoidable. Now, some people I think out there, there's Leos out there who don't know how to step into the spotlight, and they want to desperately, but they don't work like some of the other typical Leos. Like they're the behind the scenes ones, but they want to. There's a different way. And so for them, maybe the start of a story, of a South Node story like this, has to do with how they step into the spotlight because they're afraid to do it or don't want to do it like everybody else. And they're stuck in that way too. So you could look at it that way, that somebody's like, hey, no, like, come on here. Like, I don't want to, and why wouldn't they want to? Did something happen in the past when they did because they were being live and raw on the playground with their friends, and then something happened and they did something goofy, and then all the other kids laughed at them? And it just was like, oh my God, I'm vulnerable, They see me, they see my tender, expressive heart. When everybody in the crowd, when we do something goofy and play, we all laugh together. But maybe the situation was they were laughed at, or they weren't seen, or there wasn't a supportive environment for them to be a Leo. So they hide out, because why would anyone want to be in that place again of just being like exposed, a tender heart, and just all of a sudden ashamed and bashful and all the things that happen when, something like that happens. That's hard, and it's not their fault. It's like they didn't mess up. It was the environment they were in. It was the people that are around. It was the group think. And so there's the other part of, I think, how this can play out for people. And maybe it is like the South Node's like, hey, no, this is your time to step out. Maybe not today during the eclipse, but this is where a planet like Jupiter in Leo for the next year is involved and will push those narratives for some people. Some people need to let off the gas of being in the spotlight all the time, right? And figure out and remember why they initially needed to express themselves. And then, know the limits of how to do that before it becomes unbalanced. And Jupiter pushes that story too. So these are some things. I'll get to the chat here in a second off the top of my head. But I want you to remember here that we, and you, I think you all know this. I'm not the fucking guru, and I never want to be. But as someone who has North Node in Aquarius and is starting my nodal return, and who has massive storyline that goes on in my chart between Leo and Aquarius, I've had to have my own story about like being seen and not seen. As someone with Mars and Aquarius conjunct the North Node, trust me, I focus, fixed focus, like I can be unstoppable, but to my detriment, right? It's a crash and burn type of stuff. But I'm the type of person where, I will do something and it's in an Aquarius mindset. So I'll be like, hey, this is not just about me, it's for everybody. Right? Like it's for everybody. And I'll do something, and then let's say there's praise that comes like, hey, Nicholas, you did this and did that. That's amazing. And I'm like, and I've always had a thing with this. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for that. I'm out of here. I'm out the back door. Like a detachment, an Aquarius detachment is something that I'm very good at because I know things are fleeting. Now, you don't want to get too cold as a Saturnian Aquarius thing, and that's where you look to the opposite sign to bring in the thing. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being seen and acknowledged. We need that. We all need to be seen and acknowledged for the beauty and the things that we create, for being our individualistic selves. And not just in the Aquarius way, but like in the Leo way. Like, hey, it's okay to say, look at me. Look, I feel amazing right now. Look at this. And by the way, I'm doing this because I can't help it and it feels good, but I want to share it with you. So there's lessons that even the Aquarius is learning here, and I think the storyline is going back and forth, right? So Pluto and Aquarius, opposite Jupiter, we're doing this opposition and we're going back and forth. For some of you who want a deeper clue in all this, you can go back to you know, Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. And before, you know, actually, let's just do it for fun. I'll look at the last one that happened, and some of you know this already. Here it is. Here on this chart, we're looking at. Here's just a situation. It's like 2020, right? So we basically have a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction that happened in Capricorn. Here is the last time, right? As an example. We know what happens. I'll give you another one. Here's the other one that happened. It was the same thing earlier in the year 2020 with a retrograde of 24 degrees with Pluto and Jupiter in Aquarius, or excuse me, in Saturn. Here's another one that happened earlier in that year at 24 degrees. Like, it's just wild. If I'm doing this right, I'll look one in 2007. When was the last time a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction happened before it was in Sag at 28 degrees? All right, so saying that, we're at the opposition right now, and where things are. Let me go back to this. Actually, it's good that I'm taking a break because I just went on a rant. In here, we had officially here on July 20th. Remember, we did the official one here at 4 degrees, right? Between the two. This is part of the story too. That's why I brought in the Aquarius part, is because I think they help each other. So we just don't look at the Leo part and what needs to be siphoned out and changed and purged with the South Node here, because that's the tendency to happen. At the same time, you know, I think in something like this, I'll get the chat right here in a second. I think it's important to recognize too what one has done in the Leo part of your chart, because sometimes we have to come back to the source. And what I mean by that is if we came back to the source, let's just pick the chart again for today. If we came back to the source, let's not even think about, the source is the sun, by the way, but let's just think about the South Node. Like, we talk about the South Node in different ways in astrology. I'm coming more now over the years from a more Joitish perspective, mixed with some other, my thoughts, but I think it's important to know where we come from and where we started. Right? And then there's times we go around and we come to this pushing place, the head of the dragon of the North Node, but we don't eliminate, I mean, we eliminate and purge through the tail of the dragon on the South Node, but we don't eliminate like what it is and what it means. We eventually always come back to our South Node. We always come back, and I think that's a positive thing to understand, let's say, where things come from and they start from your South Node, that we're not eliminating the whole thing, but we do come back to the initial basis. So for instance, if I was bringing up the playground example, and we come back to the initial moment that I ran into you on the playground and we pushed our life force out in a great way. What happens afterwards in the journey of that, and some of the pitfalls, then in situations like this, we kind of come back to that memory, or you want to. I don't take the perspective like, you just go to the Aquarius part of the chart and we don't want to deal with this stuff. And I'm not a past lives person. I don't look at the shit like that. I don't look at the nodes like that. I don't play that game. I play more like they are both of malefic nature and very powerful, but at the same time, that South Node there in your own chart, or let's say in this chart, is carrying something there that's a basis of something like a platform. Okay, so I will get to something here. I just saw something. I'll show you here just so you see my calculations on the thing. Della's in here. What's up, Della? Good to see you. Della's asking me if you could see this, are you using mean or true? And I'm using true. But let's just see what it looks like in mean, okay? So there it is here. You could see from the mean here. I think you see on the mean here that the South Node isn't in there yet. It's going to be on the 18th if you're using that calculation. I don't. I stick to that. Hey, more power to you. I'm not saying what's better and what's worse or whatever, right? And you can read articles about this shit. All right, so saying that, I'm going to pull up some other charts here in a second and some other transits to help you understand if you need be. I want to acknowledge Steffi G. Steffi G, I feel like I haven't seen all of you in a long time. Thank you for the super chat. Hello, my fellow sparklers. They're saying hi to me and all of you that are watching. Thank you, Steffi G, for the super chat. Good to see you, my friend. Angelina's here. Polino's here. I can't believe I'm catching one of your live streams. Oh, golly meta. And all of a sudden, Stephanie's speaking Greek and donating another $5 to me. By the way, you want to help me out? Become a subscriber to the channel. You can become a channel member at Pay. You can join my Patreon. You can see the links. I have the stuff. I won't even say what it is for the YouTube algorithm there if you want to help me out. I got readings. My members of my YouTube who pay and my Patreon get discount codes every month. Anyway, Steffi G, thank you for the Greek. Oh, Lucy's, hey, I have another channel member. Lucy Creates is here. Oh, thank you. Good to see you. Wesley, who I acknowledged earlier, so much of my Leo story is learning what it means to be a Leo, then doing the damn thing. Yeah, see, that's a version of it. That's a version of it. And we do this over and over again. And we do it every day, by the way. The sun comes up and it shines and it sets in the west, and then the moon comes up. And we do this every day if you really think about it. So, oh, BB. God, BB's in the chat. Good. Oh, BB. Blessings. Good to see you here. Della Luna, JS Ballard's in the house. Let's go 50-50 on a fiber laxative brand called South Node Productions. For those who don't know or coming in late, this stream is sponsored by whole psyllium husks. You know what I mean? So, sometimes we got to push it out. I prescribe this for the Leo part of your chart, but slowly over the next year and a half. So saying that, yeah, thank you, Della. Astro Stephanie's here. Cool. All right. Where'd my live chat window just disappear to? What the? Oh, there it is. Let me find it. I can't believe I'm doing this stream like during an eclipse. Let me just get this straight right there. All right, now let's check something out here. It's for. I love you too, BB. I see the comment coming in here. So let's check this out. So for me, I think this is a month of where you push the change. Today's meditative. We're just coasting through this eclipse right now, right? And I think it's important to do that. But let's just say, just from a new moon perspective, right? We're just going to go by the day here, right? So I'll just, for an experiment, I'm going to pick by the day. So I'm going to push one day, and this will be the chart. And at this point, you see the moon's in Virgo, right? Right? We see this right here. Important. I need to pull something up as reference here on the side for myself before I do this. Thank you again for liking and the thing or subscribing, all that kind of stuff, and sharing my stuff. It helps, definitely. And I'm going to talk about YouTube here in a second because they just announced something yesterday that can really affect a lot of YouTube channels coming in February. I'll talk about this. They announced it on Eclipse, by the way. The funny thing is these announcements and the changes they're making for the YouTube's partner program are going to kick in next February. When the eclipse happens again, and there's a lot of people pissed about these new changes. As soon as I saw, I was like, who initiated this effing thing? Like, hire this guy. I mean, you call your AI Gemini, and like, hire the Gemini. Okay, so regardless, let me pull something up here. I know people are seeing Mercury sextile Uranus kind of stuff, and a Mercury sextile Venus, but I want to get to something here. So we're going by the day. Okay, so there's that. Let's just keep going. I'm going to move it a couple days. People who know my monthly forecast members have seen this. Let's go to the 15th, which is Saturday, okay? So we want to see something here. And it's at 4:22 a.m. Pacific on 15th, my Saturday. This isn't going to be exact, but you see the exact Mercury-Jupiter conjunction that's happening. And I feel this is part of the eclipse. And in a sense, even though Mercury and Jupiter are part of this lunation, I feel when Mercury moves into the middle and does a conjunction with Jupiter and moves through, it's carrying Jupiter influence. So Jupiter and Mercury are building this week, and they have the exact moment on Saturday. And so we have something that's elevated. So Jupiter and Mercury have a conversation here, and I think it has to do, my way of looking at this, as the vision of what is purged in the Leo part of your chart and what can be. Like what can be put into motion from the regeneration of Leo and the lessons that are going to be learned here in the next year and a half because of the eclipses. So we have something like this. That's one way to look at this. And we don't want to forget here, because in the background, we see that Saturn, even though it's retrograde at 14, we're building towards something here at the end of August. So remember, Saturn is in the background here, okay, in Aries. And it's to help you, if you could think about it this way. So let's just keep going. Moon goes into Libra, and then I'm following Mercury here, right? So basically we're going to go all the way until the 17th, which is going to come up on Monday. And at this point, we can't see the new moon, but I always feel new moons really kick in on an energetic level, like start to be outwardly, when we start to see the crescent moon in the sky after the thing, because we can't see it, not just because of an eclipse, but because of a new moon. You don't see a new moon, but when the crescent starts to show itself several days later, it's on. Like the intention, the thing of planting the seed, the purging. We're doing a purging and planting of the seed here kind of at the same time. So here comes on the 17th. And then basically we have, and this is, we can't forget, we got a Mars, Neptune, square going on in the background, right? I don't want to get into that, but it's there. But this is where I feel like officially then we're doing, here I see text messages coming in. I'm not going to look at that. Here's Mercury, and then here's Saturn doing the trine, right? And so here, the movement through Jupiter and the vision and where to go, so the journey, let's say, and also the philosophical basis, let's say, of how one has to come to like understand the Leo part of their chart possibly, can be solidified and put in and start to be put into form with a Saturn trine, like a fire trine. So it's not like we're quelling and putting out a fire. We're just kind of like trying to understand then, well, how do we take this path and journey and then give it structure? And how do we start to form it into something real? And I think this is important, because if we get stuck in the vision of it and don't have the form, it become detrimental, right? So in a sense, let's say they're the offstage Leo that doesn't know how to step into the spotlight. They're like that person. Well, here's the chance to like the lessons and the form, and maybe it's the class that it's taken. Maybe it's the mentor, right? Maybe it's the mentor is like, hey, okay, we're practicing this. You got a play to do in a month, and you need to get up there, and like, I'm freaked out. But somehow the Leo goes and finds the mentor and takes the class, right? And they do it. And they might be doing it one-on-one. It might be doing it with a group of other people who feel the same way. Regardless, Saturnian mentor is like, this is how you structure it. This is how you do it. And this is the way you can form the vision so it can become reality. Remember, Saturn is about reality and realization, for better or worse, of how it comes to you. That's the power of that planet, and it's the power of a trine right here. They say, trines are lazy. We're always talking about conjunctions and squares, but come on, man. We're getting some trines in the background here, fire trines, and they're going to be around, especially for Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. They're around for the next year. So let us acknowledge what happens there, along with Venus, in a sense, too, trying to balance it all here in the background. If you look at the 10 degrees, it's doing its sextile to Jupiter here. So Venus is trying to help out here in the way that she does in that sign. So got air and fire here getting triggered again, which is the background theme of this year's astrology and for the next couple years. Okay, so we have something like that, and let us go further. Okay, I'm sort of doing a second half monthly forecast that's turning into something here. I'll look at chat in a second. What am I doing? Let us acknowledge something here too that we're not hearing about. Even though here at this point next week Venus is at 10 degrees, we have in the background we've had Uranus at 5, and there we've had a grand air trine running the whole time here in the background. So I think it doesn't mean that everything's candy. All you have to do look is like what's been happening socially with people in many different ways, and it's been kind of a rumbling effect. I personally think that the rumbling effect happened during Mercury in Cancer and when Mars was still in Gemini. Now Mars is in Cancer. Remember I talked about this in the beginning of the stream, and Mercury's in Leo. I think the conversation changes. The way it is, the way the exchange happens, right, is change. Anyway, let's acknowledge we've had a grand air trine. I live with this in my life. I was born with one of these. It's not perfect. As a matter of fact, it's lazy, and I have to learn how to flex that muscle and remind myself to not just like everything comes easy. No, you have to administer and you have to initiate. But when you do, it does flow. Okay, so side note there, let's get to the 21st because of what I've been mentioning. And again, it's just funny how these other planets are involved when we're just looking at Leo stuff, but then you see the opposition that happens with Venus Saturn, and there's some sort of negotiation that's been happening here. So we have the vision in the Mercury in Leo expression, or understanding what needs to be purged and from a mind alchemical magicianal process, right? That's part of the thing. That's one way to look at it. But we do have a negotiation, and Saturn here hasn't disappeared. Saturn's in on the game in the background. Okay, so saying that, I will just move all the way to, I'm skipping things, and some of you, oh, no, I'll move to this date to show you important things that are connected to the lunation, and it will be here. I will pick the 25th when we have here. Well, okay, let me make sure you all see it here. I'll go by I have to skip to the hours, and I'll get off the data fucking mind train that I'm doing right now. Let's see, there it is. It's personally Pacific time at 2 in the morning on the 25th that you will see then Mercury conjunct the South Node. And then this reminds me, I should have done this before. That's that moment that you keep track of part of this eclipse day. That's today. But let us go back because I skipped something. Let's go back, and I'm going to this point. This is the 20th of August, and here's the 21st. So you saw on the 20th, this is Mercury's moving really fast, by the way, if you haven't noticed. But here's 19 degrees Leo. Next day's 21. So we already know that at this point in August 20th and the 21st, Mercury hits the 20-degree new moon degree. And for me, Mercury's transit this month and its whole transit through Leo and then the very beginning of Virgo, I think is the fundamental part of all this. So if you're looking for the clues and you're looking for the way to administrate, it connects with Jupiter. It connects with Saturn to form it. It hits the eclipse, or it hits the new moon point, and it will hit the South Node. Everything you need is sitting there with Mercury. It's delivering it to you. So you might as well take it in and do the Mercury game and the Hermes game. And it's the fact that it's moving really fast coming out of the retrograde cycle we did, last month or whatever else. I think Mercury's on point, and it's like completely there to drop the knowledge on you if you're willing to go there. And I think you have to be willing, as with anything mercurial, to look at the light and dark, the shadow and light. One is not better than the other. It's life. They both have their strength. And so one is, Mercury to me is the alchemical process, how we separate things and how we put them back together. And it's playing that game with Jupiter and Saturn and Moon and all this stuff, and it's hitting these points. I feel that is an amazing way to embody and incorporate a longer term story of eclipses happening in Leo and Aquarius, right? So I'm a Mercury guy. I'm almost going to jump in on the chat here. I just want to show you this, right? And so saying that, on the 25th, you see here, it's like when I went earlier, it's here on the 25th that you see, or the next day, that Mercury goes into Virgo, and then it will do its conjunction. It will do its conjunction with the sun. And at that point on the 27th, well, actually, let's do it since we're here. Didn't know it's going to turn into this. We will go to the next here. I got to pick this. We'll go to this chart on the 27th, and then you will see the full moon here, which is also an eclipse, and it's the last tie-up from the Virgo Pisces eclipse story. We have this trailing thing. Many Pisces risings and Virgo risings I've known and I worked with the last year and a half have finished the story and are just dealing with the remnants of the story. It could be in legal ways or whatever else, but this particular lunation does this, and it's an overlap, even though the South Node is at 29, so on and so forth. But you see here, it's also on that day, earlier in the day at 10:03 a.m., that Mercury and Virgo have the conjunction. And I think something like this, when we do the Leo expression and what we're trying to manage here for August, we go to the next sign of Virgo. And at this point, Mercury now, after doing the Leo stories in Virgo, will take all that information and then do the Virgo thing where it goes back into the lab, into the herb shop, to the internal place, and separate and pull and put something new together, work on something. And that's why we like Virgo birthdays after Leo. Leo expresses outwardly. Virgo has a tendency to do inward pyramid and reconfigure in a healthy way. And I think here Mercury and the Sun gives a little bit of bump to all this story, even though it's not connected by sign. But we're following the Mercurial story here, and Virgo is helping out. And Mercury is in one of its homes, and it's going to be really distinct and really detailed, and it's going to tinker behind the scenes here with what happened and help push the story along. And if you haven't noticed here, we see Mars still in Cancer. And that is the next thing I will bring in. And the last charts I will bring in just to help you here is I will pick here. I'll just do it right now on the screen. I will pick Mars and I go, when is it going to go into Leo? And we see here it's going to happen on September 27th. That's when we'll deal with it then. And Mars then will go through all the degrees that I mentioned. It will pass Jupiter. It will hit the new moon point that we're hitting today at 20 degrees. It eventually is going to pass through and hit the South Node. And for those people who don't know, Mars will go here for 2 months at that point and go into Virgo. And when we get into July, the first week of January, Mars will go retrograde. I'll show you what that chart is. Let's pick it. And it's here. It's here. January 10th of next year, Mars will be at 10 degrees here. But then it moves and it goes back over to Leo, and it will cross back over Jupiter again, and we're playing a game with Mars. And so Mars will then take up the story in a big, massive retrograde way to reconfigure, to go in and push the regeneration and changing story for the Leo part of your chart. It will do again, I can push the chart here just so you see. Let's just do it this way. I'll do it by the weeks. I'll go here. There's January 24th. It's not there. It's when we hit basically here in February. You see that Mars goes all the way back into Leo again to go over the points that I just showed you in September and October, basically, or whatever I just showed you. And it's going to go back over the 29-degree place. And you see these multiple Mars-Jupiter South Node conjunctions that are going to happen, that are really going to push the eclipse story that is happening today as we do this live stream. And this is where it gets in the cauldron. This is where it gets heavy. This is where it is. And you could see at this point it's February. And I will pick this for the screen so you see. I will pick February 6th here, and you see here another eclipse that's going to happen. This is the new moon in Aquarius that happens at 17 degrees. We see here Jupiter in the South Node, blah, blah, blah. 6 months from now, right? So 6 months when YouTube realizes they made a stupid mistake with the YouTube partner program today. So regardless, that is my thing. Finally, to go back, we will pick then the thing I think that solidifies at the end of this month. I didn't know I was going to do it this way, and it has to do with this. And it's the Jupiter-Saturn trines, and the first one is going to happen here at the end of this month, and it's here. Basically, here's 13 degrees Saturn retrograde. Here is Jupiter moving. This is massive moment we're building. It's connected to the Mercurial transit in Leo, the South Node stuff that I've been talking about. And on the end of this month, we have the first one that happens. See, not all is lost with shit like this. It's like if one understands and can use Mercury and then know in the background that these two heavy hitters, that Jupiter and Saturn, are trying to work together. Like they're trying to do it. They know that this is the first of 3 trines that will happen. I will go to the next one for the chart. You will see it will be April 3rd here. We have the second Saturn-Jupiter trine. This time Saturn is not retrograde and moving forward, and this time Jupiter's retrograde. Remember, look at, we have this conjunction here going on, the South Node, Mars and Jupiter. And then finally, it will be July 11th of next year where we will have the last Jupiter-Saturn trine that will happen at 27 degrees here, really close to where the node is right now and will be in the next several months. Okay, that is all the data I wanted to throw at you if you need it and to understand some processes. We want to use Mercury here. My suggestion here is today and until Mercury leaves Leo in the beginning of Virgo, and then you know down the line that Mars is going to have a massive say in this whole thing. And remember what Mars does. Mars cuts, Mars severs, you heat things up, it boils down to its purity, to the essence of something with fire. You think about all the fire archetypal things that it does elementally. That's what's about to happen to some Virgos, and to Leos is there. All right. Oh my God. Jesus. Whew. Let's do it. Let's be done. And then I have a couple little things to say to all of you. Isha says in chat, are you going to be doing chart readings, consultations via Jyotish? I am no way, even though I'm studying it right now. And let's just segue into that, actually. Let us segue into something that has to do with that. What did I do? Oh, yes, there it is. There it is. I got a whole thing of books. I just got it in the mail today. My teacher and friend, Ashwin, you can see him here. He's published a book called The Essentials of Jyotisha. I've been studying. I haven't been able to study the last 6 months. I've been so busy with my life and working the United Astrology Conference in Norwalk and all that. I'll be jumping in. I'll be seeing and meeting Ashwin in person for the first time in Chicago at the conference. He just put out this book. He's an amazing teacher. You want to do Jyotish and learn this stuff? Go find Ashwin's website. I'll find it right now and jump it in. There's no way I'm going to be doing readings for people in this format. I don't. Even if I wanted to, I think it would have to be 10 years from now. There's no way I would put myself in that position. But I'm studying this because the philosophy and different ways, especially with the nodes, actually have helped me look at things differently. And also too, that I'm a big proponent. I could give a shit about Barbeau's basket. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I know for me, and then experience of what I've learned in the past with eclipses and some of the stuff I've been studying Jyotish, for me, when planets hit the nodes and square the nodes, that's when the change is happening. That's when it's like, it's clockwork. Okay, so regardless, this is Ashwin Subramanian. Ashwin, I never get to say your last name right. Anyway, I answered a thing in chat. Analog Dream is here. Draconic Feathers loves my shirt. Yep, thank you. Mercury Day. Who else is in this house? Lisa Mann's here. Agent Mitten is in the house. Oh, I got the same shirt at Norwalk. Sweet. I'm looking at chat. Sidereal. If I'm studying sidereal, so basically my brain has been in both worlds. I'm doing sidereal Jyotish. I think it only works that way. It's not a criticism. All right, so saying that, I also want to show you something before I leave. I was going to go through each rising sign to say what these eclipses are, but I might do that down the line, like maybe when Jupiter stations retrograde here at the end of December, right, in Leo, and what it means for each sign and the eclipses and stuff. I might do it then, or maybe when Mars goes into Leo for what each sign is. So, hey, Anna Maria, I see you in chat. But hey, I want to show you something. Let me see if my browser is being nice to me. I will. Oh, okay. Let's do this. Let's see if I can do this. Here is Ashwin's website. He's such a good guy. You probably see me do forecasts with him on the Cap Isar podcast when we were doing that. We took a break. He's thorough and and Hellenistic, traditional, and Jyotish. He comes from a lineage of teachers in his family. Here's his website in the chat. Go check out the book. You can go, it's on Amazon. Go buy the book. It's really easy and accessible, and he's such a great writer. He's got some interesting Gemini and Sagittarius placements in the Western thing, so he knows how to express himself, and he's very concise. He's a friend. He's a great teacher. Website is the link is in the chat. And you can order the book here in the States to order it. I think it's, I don't know, $25 or something. He also wrote a book with another colleague of mine called Tara All with the Moon. Really good book. That's on Llewellyn. So yeah. Oh, Anna Maria says, I'm really enjoying Ashwin's Jyotish course in his book. Good. Right on. Yeah, and he's a good one. And he's funny, man. If you talk to him and you're in class with him, he's very open. People are talking, and he creates a space, like, because you have to start to talk in the language of Jyotish. And when you're already programmed in the Western mind, you're gonna mess up. It's hard at first to recalculate, or at least, from the non-chakra places, the way I'm studying, it's good to learn those things. But then he creates situations where you're trying to explain it with your students, your cohorts there, and it's never judgmental. It's never like that. And you have good laughs about it. And then he always helps, So saying that, that's what's up with that. It just segued into that because somebody asked if I was doing reading. I'm like, I'm not doing that. There's other people, like Ashwin. He's a master at that stuff. So saying that, I also want to remind you that this is in several weeks, the United Astrology Conference. I have been so busy behind the scenes with this. A lot of us core people have been head down. So much more to do, and then I'm going to be busy when I get there. I'm the ad director and the marketplace director for the conference. I'm really psyched to see everybody there, and I'm really psyched to meet new people there. There's people in the Jyotish classes and Astro's I'm going to meet for the first time there. He's going to be there, not speaking, but he'll be there, and so many other people. It's sold out, but the waiting list, if you were thinking about going this year in the area, get on the waiting list. I think you could get a ticket by the end of the month, but there also is room for the pre and post conference workshops that will happen. You can find this all on the website. I'll put it in here. Let me put this here. You can look at the speaker lineups. Links in the chat. So much going on. But the orgs. Can you imagine a conference that starts on a Thursday and ends on a Tuesday, 5 days, where there's like 4 lecture slots per day, and each lecture slot has 15 choices? It's like, what else do you want? It's all there. It's like 3 floors running around, and from smaller rooms to big rooms to all different types of astrology. It's a beast, and it's wild and amazing, and it doesn't happen all the time. So I'm pretty psyched for that. I know they'll be recording every lecture there to put on for sale afterwards. There's no live stream situation. But again, you can go to the website and just see the world. And I will be in that world, and I'm working on that world, okay? And Kathy Lewis, I'm having a kidney removed tomorrow. Kathy, blessings to you on your health journey with all that. I see that in chat there. I know everybody in your chat will send you some blessings in the chat and some guidance, going in to, thank you, Purple Allegria, like sending strength and prayers. Yeah, it's big shout out to you, friend. I'm just glad that you feel safe enough to say that here, because we all support you. You know how the crew is in here, the chat's in here. We roll that way, right? And so, anyway, I'm just acknowledging you. Della Luna, schedule overwhelming. Yeah, remember, there's a couple different ways to look at the schedule. We might as well do it. I will do this here. There's a button on this. This is not the best browser page I have open because I have to think, but there's ways to view this. If you go to the link page where the schedule is, you can hit view, and it gives you expanded ways to look at it, and it gives you like by grid. You can look at it from a Google Calendar standpoint. This is a great way to look at the calendar. You can also download the Sketch app, which you can load on your phone, and then you see the link on that thing, and then you can customize it on your phone too, and let's have your own personal thing so you know where the hell you're going and what you're doing, because it's a lot, right? So saying that, Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Obviously, I'm available for readings here until I leave the Chicago, so I have some open times. You can do that. I will. I want to talk to my Leos. Like, I want to talk to my Leos and talk to me. I actually want to talk. I actually want to talk to my Libras and my Scorpios too, because something's about to happen. We're about to do a Venus retrograde. So that's a whole nother something here. I didn't talk about the fall, and I will, but I would love to talk to those clients. I already know there's stuff on the table, but my Leos, or people with planets in Leos, or Leo risings, even Aquariuses, talk to me. Like, come book a session with me. I already know that it's going down. And from the mundane and political perspective, it's going down. A lot of times people are saying here that, with the sun, I'll go back to now. I'll pick this chart up here, right? That, that in older astrology, ancient astrology, the sun is like the royalty, the king or whatever, the king or the queen. And if an eclipse is happening, then there is a taking out of that situation or that platform or that form of the kingdom or the leader or whatever else, right? And in mundane astrology, they look at things like this with an eclipse in the south node, that something's about to get toppled. The person gets toppled from a certain place, a country, whatever, right? And we look at people's specific charts or whatever else, just saying that. I think naturally we get toppled in life. You know how I started this stream and my outlook of how to deal with this. I don't think it's the easiest thing. At the same time, we want to be participatory the best way we can with astrology. I look to the inner body planets to do it. And this live stream was really about Mercury's journey through Leo, really. So I will say that, okay? As for, there's always news, there's always catastrophe, there's always stuff. I'm not discounting it at all, but there's so many ways to look at things. For me, I don't get caught up on the mundane on this channel all the time. A lot of people make their bread and butter money on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok doing that kind of stuff. I do it sometimes. I'm more concerned of like you, and you're in your little world that you're in, which is huge because we're in our bubbles. It's huge. What is it there? Are we affected by what happens outside of us? Yes, we are. Definitely economically. Like, economically, what is happening is rough. So, and it's could get rougher. How do you manage that? We don't want to forget, on this channel, why I started doing these streams a while back. And, it had to do with here. Here we are again, right? And it's like, I did these slides 2 years ago talking about when Pluto went in Aquarius and about having to trust yourself and finding your autonomous zone and getting to know that first, and to preparing yourself, like trusting yourself, trusting your gifts, trusting your vision, and that you're talented enough to do these things. And I said this for a reason. I said it to come back to right now. Because of the external type of astrology with fire and air going. It was a preparation for now. It's not perfect, but you know what? If it seems like things are tough, this is today, the eclipse day, and the next day, I wouldn't say shit online and make any comments or do stupid shit. But for me, down the line, this is the month actually, in going into September, to take the risk creatively. Even if you falter, even if we're meditatively going in and checking out the tougher or challenging or stagnant parts of our Leo side in our chart, it doesn't mean, for everybody, you don't do anything. I actually think, because of Mercury's movement, that you do play, that you do experiment, but you do it for the sake of play and experiment and expression. It's not for I need the applause and the acknowledgement. It's the sake of just movement and creativity. And the creative process demands meditation at times, but it also demands the space and the room to play and to experiment, to find a new way to shine and express in the Leo parts of your chart. And part of that process is playing. So, for me, on Eclipse Day, I'll tell you, hey, chill out today. But as we go in the next couple of weeks, I tell you, go for it. Just know that you might not get the recognition you're seeking, but is it really about that? Or is it about the spirit of things? The spirit that I talked about when you're on the playground when you were a kid, and it was just about fun and playfulness and going at life and being attached to life, the sun, like you're going down the slide and it's the rush. That's what it is. That's the process. The byproduct of what happens afterwards, about people acknowledging you, seeing that stuff, that's a whole nother part of the story. But for me, if I was to play this in a potion or an alchemical or magic way or ritualistic way, yes, we have a moment here of something getting sucked out of the Leo part of the chart and a story happening for the next year and a half. But it doesn't mean not to play. And there'll be times that you play, times that you fall, and the times you go behind the curtain and the stage. And you have to understand, you have to get to a place like, I just fell and crashed in front of a bunch of people. Or I failed myself. And do I go back out there again? I can't do that. I cannot do that again. I cannot be seen that way. And so one has to go through that place and bring in one of the most important parts of the Leo archetype is the confidence and courage to go back out there and to do it before the rush of it all. I know sometimes it's to get the acknowledgement and the applause. I get it. And you can get it. But really it's about the rush of it, and it's to go then back behind stage, do it again and do it again, just to be expressing yourself and faltering and also hitting it on all 100%, like hitting it, that's what it is. And then we learn to be courageous and to be confident and know that there's a process to it all. And sometimes, like every day, like I mentioned earlier, when the sun goes down, it's quiet and the moon takes over, right? They play this game with each other just like they are today with a new moon, right? But if you can understand that process for yourself in the Leo part of your chart, or to reconfigure it or bring it to a new place, hopefully in a year and a half, you will have walked through a south node, north node situation, and you will have found consistency and form in it all, because you have Saturn and Aries helping you out in the background the whole time, okay? So I just want to say that really quick. I want to show you a couple things. No, I want to be done actually, and I'm going to read something. Before I do that, I will go here. I appreciate everybody jumping on the stream in the middle of the day. I know you guys were saying a bunch of things here. Draconic's talking about a client solar return this Sunday actually evoked a lot of emotions for me regarding my self-perception as a professional astrologer. I was judging myself at first. Interesting. You're looking in the mirror. Anybody watching this channel knows I've been talking about looking in the mirror the last month. So what are you telling yourself when you look in the mirror? Who are you? And once you figure that out, or you have to change it again, you get to a place of well, maybe I'm this. And then you have to find the tools and the things to express who you are, right? Here I am, I'm back in that place. It's a process. So saying that, Draconic's talking about feeling confident, motivated for the long run. That's new for me. Well, good job though. Good job on seeing things, seeing it. Drawing a lot, I see in the comment. All right, cool. Lots of Leo aqua nodal axes in the house. Yeah, that's definitely me. Canada Dry. Hello, good to see you in chat. Eclipse is happening in my Leo sun. Wow. Glad you're here with us. Right along with the stellium. You know what to do. You've been working on it. Ego 4220 barely made it. Cool. All right. Listen, I'm going to do some, what do they call it when you just randomly open? No, I didn't. I'm going to read something here. And then I got to get back to work. I'm going to read something from, man, this book just keeps cashing in. I keep cashing in on this book. It's called Notes on Nothing, okay? Just the Joy of Being Nobody by Anonymous. Okay, here's the thing. I picked this purpose. I've read from this book before, but I picked this on purpose because it's kind of like what today is. If Leo is getting the sun blocked about, you're anonymous. And you would think it's the opposite, right? Is Leo this? But no, you're anonymous today. No one sees who you are, whether you choose to or not. And you know what? It's all getting wiped out into nothing. So the joy of being nobody. Now, would you say the joy of being nobody as a Leo keyword things? That's something they do not want to hear, or it just sounds weird. But I'm telling you that to become somebody, or to find the new somebody in Leo part chart, you got to become nobody. All right? So saying that, let me read this. Good to see you, Mani's in chat. All right. Are you with me? You with me? Are you with me? Imagine you walk to the window and look out. Beyond is a park. In the wide expanse of green, you see a white dog running. Naturally, you do not feel yourself to be that dog. You do not try to own the personal experience of the dog as it runs through the park, chasing after a butterfly. You see it as a part of the scene, as one with the view. A streak of life moving amongst life. Its story is not your story. It is simply just unfolding as the day unfolds there in the window. What if the sense of yourself became like this? That is my little something for you today. And I want to say thank you for everyone jumping on the stream. I appreciate you. I almost read from Total Freedom. Krishnamurti, he's a trip. He's got his own darkness. I almost did Total Freedom. I'll save that for the Aquarius eclipse. I'll save it for his wackiness. For better or worse, he's got his own baggage, right? But there's some gold. I'll save it for that another time. I also want to, what else was I gonna show you? Yeah, let's end here. Let me remind you that this live stream is sponsored by whole psyllium husk. Know what this does. If you need it, metaphorically, find your psyllium husk and start to apply it to the Leo part of your chart slowly. All right? We want to clear blockages so things flow and the rest of the system flows. But first, we must purge out what is stagnant. It doesn't happen in one day. It happens over time when we regulate a system and find balance in a system like our body or the Leo and Aquarius parts of our chart. At some point in the story, we might go too far. It might be more Pluto and a north node. That's intense, isn't it? We go to the Leo side to balance it out. Or maybe it's a little too much on the Leo side and we need a little bit of help to push things through. So this live stream has been sponsored by, they should get a hold of me for this one, whole psyllium husks. On that note, Junkie Urban, who is a channel member in chat, thank you for supporting me. He's in the chat. Kendra Peace is here. Joe Carden. Who did I miss? Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Sorry. I appreciate the super chats. You see the links there. Donate, help me out. All the deal. Saying that, I appreciate you all. Take it easy today and tomorrow. You don't have to go jump on that post and comment. Go take it easy, man. Like, let nature do its course. Let the psyllium husk do its thing. And then get to the weekend and maybe get back into the mix again. But I appreciate you joining me during an eclipse live stream and being chill and running with my thoughts, right? And that end, I send big blessings to all of you, big love, and connection. I appreciate you all and being supporting me and letting me be Nicholas. And remember, I have a North Node in Aquarius and a South Node in Leo. So, I have my own stake in all this, right? And it's playing out for me in my life and will be. And you guys are going to see it, right? And I'll be honest about it. So saying that, I appreciate you all. Again, please like and subscribe, so on and so forth, and all that kind of stuff. Thanks for all the comments. I see people talking here, whatever. And yeah, back to work for me. Back to work. But first, we must end the stream. Since I found another way to end this stream, is we end it with something sweet. It's a piece of chocolate.